Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Bolt Action Reloading. In today's video, we'll be doing some more load development with our 300 Winchester Magnum Thompson Center Compass. Today, we're going to be working with the 220 grain Sierra Match King, as well as Hodgdon's H4831 Shortcut. Stick around. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here and you'd like to see how I and the rest of me here make our group smaller, start now by subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell icon. That way you get notified when I post next week's video and you won't miss anything. Guys, today is one of our pressure and velocity tests that I'm sure you've all grown to love. I do like to load these tests before I do a formal test, just to make sure we don't get ourselves in trouble with pressure and end up having to pull a whole bunch of projectiles. Today's testing will be no different. Essentially, we're not as concerned with the groups as we are in finding out where our velocity nodes might be, as well as ensuring we don't have any pressure issues with this particular combination in our rifle. Speaking of our rifle, let's get into our test platform for today. Our test platform is the Thompson Center Compass Chambered 300 Winchester Magnum. We've actually replaced its factory plastic stock with a Boyds Pro Varmint laminated hardwood stock with adjustable comb height. It's had added to it a 20 MOA EGW long action scope base. The scope for today's video is a fixed 16 power SWFA scope, mil-mil. It's currently wearing 30mm Seekins precision scope rings, as well as an SWFA bubble level. The factory trigger has been upgraded with an MCARBO trigger spring kit. We're reducing the recoil today with a Precision Armament M4-72308 brake. Most of those details should hopefully be available in the description box below. Guys, at this point in our load series, we've tested several powder and bullet combinations, but 4831 Shortcut is going to be a new combination for us today. Particularly on the faster side of things for what we've tested mostly so far. It's not going to give us the extreme velocity with the 220 grain Sierra Match King that we've seen with other projectiles, but if we can find accuracy in a velocity node, it's certainly worth looking at. We're obviously going to take what we've learned in some previous testing to heart today, make some adjustments to our load to hopefully better simulate where we would end up with our next round of load testing, which, if today's testing does any good, will probably be coming right down the pike. Just to make sure we're perfectly clear, the source of our load data today is the new Sierra Manual app that I've got on my phone. I'm sure a whole lot of people aren't super happy with the subscription model. However, guys, if you're going to pay for the manual, it is far cheaper than the manual. You're getting all the data there right on your phone. I know I've certainly wished that I had my manuals in front of me when I've been at the store buying powder before. I do like having a paper copy in front of me, but the more I use it, the more I'm getting to like it. Teaching his own though, that is where our test data comes from today. The app just updated a couple days ago, and I think the top numbers for this have switched around a little bit, but we've got our ammo loaded, we're going to test it out. The actual max for H4831 Shortcut with this 220 grain Sierra Match King currently is 70.3 grains with an estimated velocity of 2710. The actual max charge we're going to be testing today is 69.7 grains, which our current app estimates at 2690 feet per second. We're going to be shooting 15 rounds today. This is Remington Brass that we've collected from some factory ammunition. We've actually annealed it, turned the case next to try and even those out a little bit, trimmed the cases to length, chamfered and deburred the cases, and including the time it was shot with factory ammunition, this will be its third firing. The benefit to this particular lot is we know it did actually come from the same lot of factory ammunition. So in 15 shots, we're going to try and cover as much ground as we possibly can. We're going to be starting all the way down at 65.8 grains. Working our way up in 0.3 grain increments until we hit 69.1. And on that higher end, we're going to actually start going in 0.2 of a grain increments from 69.1, 69.3, 69.5, maxing out at 69.7 grains. The CBTO we're going to be testing today is about 2.895 inches. I have found a slight variance between lot to lot with these 220 grain Sierra Match Kings. Our overall length is just going to fit in our magazine today, somewhere around 3.472 inches. Our primer to be used in today's testing is the Fed 215M Large Rifle Magnum Primer. I should have mentioned, if I didn't before, that this is about 20 thousandths off our lands, which is where our previous CBTO test gave us the best accuracy when we tested it. Certainly going to be the overall length that we've tested several of our lots of projectiles at this point, but who knows, checking such a wide range of charge weights, we're not going to expect great accuracy, but if we found it, I certainly wouldn't complain. Anyway, all those details aside, we might as well get out to the range and see how these things do. Well, as you might have figured out, we're back from the range already. Unfortunately, it was raining, so I couldn't bring any target footage today, so me shooting was the only thing that you could see. Didn't figure you guys really wanted to see the whole string, but that's the best I can do today. But all is not lost. We've got some data to talk about, so we might as well get right into it. So somewhat in line with our expectations, seeing as basically at 65.9 grains, which is almost where we started. 2550 feet per second is where we kind of expected to get today according to our load data. We started right off at 65.8 grains at 2568, so only 18 feet per second off, but our next test at 66.1 certainly jumped right up 2626 to higher than we were expected. Moving all the way to 69.7 grains, our estimated velocity at 69.8 grains would have been 2690. 2742 was where we went today. Now, as far as velocity and pressure curves go, this is kind of an interesting one. I would love to say there's lots of areas in here to explore, or at least some interesting velocity nodes, but as far as what we've tested today, it looks like the only thing we're looking at right down there is somewhere between, depending on how you want to look at things, 66.1 to 66.1 grains all the way to 67.6 grains. We almost shot the same velocity. More specifically, between 66.4 grains and 67.3 grains, 4 of those 5 velocities were exactly 2613 feet per second. For our 220 grain Sierra Match King, that 2620 velocity is not really exciting by any stretch of imagination. However, searching for low standard deviation loads is kind of on our list of things to do. If we wanted to come back to this particular combination, that might certainly be where we'd want to test. Moving up, arguably, there might be some extra velocity nodes, maybe around the 67.9, 68.2 grain range. Similar velocities there. In fact, moving all the way up to 69.3 and 69.5. Those two results were only 7 feet per second off, but certainly we had steady climbing around that area. H4831 shortcut is a little bit of a faster powder for our application, and so getting to the 2780 velocity that we've seen an accuracy node in other powders might not really be a realistic goal for us, at least for this particular powder. In case I didn't mention it before, Sierra has pushed an update to their app, and it looks like they've actually changed their max charge all the way up to 70.3 grains. So we're not really up at max pressure. However, at 70.3 grains, they're only predicting a velocity of 2710 feet per second, and we made it all the way to 2740. So I'm really not sure there's anywhere to go any higher that's really safe to test. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Are you guys interested in exploring that 2613 range? See if there's actually some accuracy around there if we go back and test it, or should we just stick with our higher velocity powders and see what we can find there? Love to know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. If no one's really interested in 4831 shortcut, we might just abandon it here on the channel as far as 300 Winchester Magnum is concerned. In case it wasn't obvious, we really weren't concentrating on groups today, but our group, in case you're interested, is 1.973 MOA overall. We've certainly shot worse groups here on the channel, but nothing to write home about on that. Again, same rest issue as other videos. I'm certainly guessing that we could have performed a little bit better today, but like I said, nodes and pressure were really what we were testing. And speaking of pressure, let's put our brass on the screen and check those out. Pretty much in line with most of the testing we've done up to this point. Really no significant pressure signs on the cases. Our same cratering we see in all of our loads, pretty much factory or otherwise here on the channel. In fact, even those minimum H4350 loads that we tested when we did the tub final finish system, those even had primer cratering just the same. As always, you guys make the decision, see what you guys think. We could push it a little bit higher, but I'm really not sure there's any reason to. Getting 40 more feet per second out of this powder really isn't going to be as spectacular as just switching to a different powder and seeing what we can get without actually getting into unsafe pressure areas. But as always, love to hear what you guys think in the comment section below. Even if you're not interested in 300 Winchester Magnum, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have any comments or questions, please post those in the comment section below. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notification so you get notified when I post next week's video. I hope to see you back next week, and until then, stay safe in small groups.